Okay, it's time for the Legacy Holistic Health Coach Program, Module 5. Now, if you've been tracking with us all the way to Module 5, you know that we've already covered a vast amount of things that create the foundation of becoming a great health coach. Today in Module 5, we're going to be talking all about identifying the people who support us, the people who are going to support the foundation that we're building for a successful health coaching practice. Beyond that, we're going to talk a little bit about self-care and stress management. And then at the end, we're going to introduce you to the Legacy Haven Huddles, which is another layer of, you guessed it, great support for all of our students here in the program. Before we jump into our content, I'm going to have a little bit of trivia for you to be able to go over some different concepts concerning the body, just to kind of see where you are. It's okay if you don't know the answers to these questions, but it's preparing you for what's coming up in the near future and in future modules. The first question is, 25% of all the bones in the human body are located here. Is it the hands? Is it the rib cage? Is it the feet? Or is it the head, the skull, and the face? The answer to this question is the feet. Over 20 bones are located in each foot, in addition to hundreds of tendons and muscles. We'll be covering some of that when we cover the musculoskeletal system in one of the upcoming modules. Where does digestion start? This one can be a little tricky if you're not familiar with the digestive system, but we're going to be covering it in detail as well in a future module. The answer to this question is the mouth. If you chose D, then you chose correct. The mouth has enzymes that are secreted as soon as something hits the tongue. When those are secreted, the other parts of the body in the digestive system are prepared for digestion. So, you guessed it, even if you're chewing a small piece of gum, your body thinks that it's going to get a full meal. So it prepares your stomach, your small intestine, and your large intestine for a full meal. It's no wonder you get hungry just chewing gum. The next question is, true or false? At some point, everyone has fought cancer. The answer to this question is true. All day long, we're creating new, awesome, beautiful cells, but we're also creating free radicals and different things that our bodies don't need. Remember that the food that we give our body is information that it gives to the cells to create new cells. And if that information is in any way confusing, the body creates cells that are not typical or atypical to the human body. These are typically identified as cancerous cells. One of the best ways to prevent this is when people are turning over new cells, they make new, stronger, healthier cells that are not atypical. When they drink water and they eat well, they actually allow themselves to continue to wash over and out the atypical cells that they don't need. So at some point, everyone has or will fight off cancer. Here's a brief scenario. Coach, I'd like to see you reduce your alcohol intake to help with your weight loss. The client says, I'm down to a 6-pack a day. The coach says, I'm also concerned about your liver too. The client says, I'm not. Besides, I heard it renews itself every 200 days. It'll be fine. Is the client correct? Will she have a new liver in 200 days? The answer here is actually true. The liver cells get beat up pretty badly on a regular basis, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming module, but it's always turning over new cells to create an amazing filter for all of the toxins and different things in the blood. She will have a new liver within 120 to up to 250 days. Now, the reason she can't still continue to drink that way and expect to have a new liver is because the cells divide based on the cellular blueprint that it already has. So if her cells are already damaged and she's not taking steps to reduce her alcoholic intake and the work on her liver, then she'll continue to turn over cells that are the same as those cells that are getting beat up by the alcohol. So yes, she will get a new liver. However, she will still have the same habits that won't allow her to enjoy the benefits of having new, fresh, healthy liver cells. What's the strongest muscle in the body? Where's the strongest muscle in the body located? A, is it the leg? B, is it the foot? C, is it the mouth? Or D, is it the heart? Now, be sure not to confuse the answer with the hardest working muscle in the body. The strongest muscle in the body is not the hardest working muscle in the body. The answer to this question is the mouth. The mouth contains masseters on the sides of your jaws that allow you to have a front central incisor bite pressure of over 50 pounds. The back molars have a bite pressure of over 150 pounds. So imagine that type of force when your jaw comes down. So your masseters, which are located on the sides of your face near your mouth, are the strongest muscles in the body. Now, the hardest working muscle that consistently works all day, every day, is the heart. But it's not the strongest muscle in the body. And we'll go over why that is when we look at the musculoskeletal system as well as the cardiovascular system. Now, the word for this particular module, and we have one for every module, the word for this module is support. Support is so important when you're launching your health coaching practice. We're going to focus our energy on support and overcoming fears and things around support and having a great support system as you move forward. Support is all about the key people in your life who hold you accountable and encourage you along the journey. Having a solid support system in place now will help you set up well for success. Remember, self-care is just as crucial, so we're going to say a word about self-care during this module as well. A healthy and happy health coach is a successful one too. And as you're happy and you're healthy, you're able to give more to your clients in the space of making sure that they evolve. This picture is worth 1,000 words. It doesn't matter what's in front of her because of who's behind her. Did you know that lions have a different way or a unique way of running their pride? And they also have a unique way of making sure that everything runs well within the pride itself. Take the lioness, for instance. She is the front line for doing all of the hunting and taking care of the cubs. If she doesn't hunt and if she doesn't have more cubs, the pride won't continue to proliferate and grow and be strong. The lion, on the other hand, does more sleeping during the day. They can sleep up to 24 hours a day when they've actually had a meal after the lioness has hunted. So he does more sleeping and protecting of the pride when it's absolutely necessary. Did you know that the lion is the supreme king of the pride? And when he wants to take over a pride, he gathers two of his closest male lion friends to take over another lion's pride. Now, in the battle, the lioness only has one thing to do. That is to protect the cubs and to determine who wins the rulership over the pride during the lion's battle. If her previous king is defeated, then she no longer will protect the cubs for a couple of reasons. She no longer protects the cubs because she feels like she had cubs to extend the legacy of the pride with someone who is no longer viable. So to her, the cubs are no longer viable. She is able to hunt any type of prey in the wild and win. She is also, believe it or not, in many cases, able to defeat a lion himself. Yet, she will not put up a fight when he looks to destroy her cubs. She wants everything in her legacy to be created and with a lion who is the king of everything. So she is willing to allow the defeat of her own cubs so that she can begin to have more cubs from the king who's in charge. She understands the support behind her, and she understands the power of her legacy when she plays her role. But she also has her own powerful ways. When it comes to support, which one are you? Are you the lion who only steps up to support when you absolutely have to? Or are you the lioness? Is everyone leaning on you to carry on the legacy? Is everyone leaning on you to raise the young, to feed them, clothe them, do everything for them? Is everyone leaning on you to be able to do everything? Or do you have a lion behind you that you can go to for supreme support and who's in charge of making sure your legacy does everything it needs to do? Now, the lion behind you doesn't have to be your spouse. It can be your best friend. It can be your longtime coworker. It could be your aunt, your uncle, your parent. It could be anyone in your life who supports you based on the criteria that we're going to share with you today. Now, in the past, we had you actually write down who your support system is and briefly mention them. In this particular module, we're going to go in depth about what it means to give support and what it means to receive support. Remember, receiving support is not a sign of weakness. Receiving support is actually a sign of strength, and it is a sign that you want your legacy to be top notch. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the crabs in a bucket theory. We all have. And the one thing we understand is that when you catch a bucket of crabs, you don't necessarily have to put a top on them because as they decide to try to climb out, the crabs beneath the one trying to crawl out will pull him down. Many think that if that the reason crabs do this is because they don't want the other crab to get out. If they can't get out, they don't want him or her to have their freedom either. Well, the reality of this is there's a different perspective that we'd like for you to adopt when it comes to understanding support. Sometimes when you're looking to advance your life, you may think that there are people beside you or beneath you or not at the same level as you or not going after their dreams as much as you are. And you may think because they don't support you that they feel that if I can't have it, no one can. Well, the new perspective we'd like you to adopt here and understand is that maybe the reason the crabs are pulling the other crab back into the bucket is because they simply don't want to be left behind. Not necessarily that they don't want that crab to get his or her freedom, but they are vastly afraid of the fact that they are not evolving and that if you leave them behind, that they won't have any support. They won't have anyone to lean on. They won't have anyone to talk to. They won't have anyone to share their dreams with. So adopt this particular perspective and you'll be able to look at support from a completely different way. I challenge you as you go through this module and as you identify your support people that you begin to see who it is that's actually around you and you begin to see whether or not they're really supporting you or if they really are pulling you back. The beautiful thing about support is that we have the ability to nurture and grow when we have the right support behind us. When we have the lion in place, we have the ability to be nurtured and to be able to grow beyond our wildest dreams. The most amazing thing that we can do as the lioness is learn to lift as we rise. So as we move forward in our dreams and as we climb the ladder of success in whatever space we're in, the goal is not to get to the top and kick over the ladder. No, the goal is to leave space for those who choose to come behind you and follow your footsteps. That is the goal, and that is what we call lifting as we rise. Now, here are some amazing signs of support that I want you to pay attention to, because in everything that we do, even as amazing and successful coaches, everything that we do is garnered upon evidence. For instance, when your clients are paying attention to the meal plan that you've given them, you will see the evidence that this has been put into action. When your client is paying attention to the advice you've given them to declutter their home so that they can think clearer and be healthier and begin a meditation regimen, you will begin to see the evidence of them taking these actions. The same applies to every area of your life, especially as a holistic influencer and coach and health coach practice owner. There must be evidence of the people who support you. Here are some signs of the types of evidence that is common when you have the lion behind you. That person behind you always says how much they believe in you. Even when you don't think something is going right yourself, or even if you feel like you need to be a perfectionist because something before you put something out there. The lion in back of you says, go hunt. You have everything you need. You have all the power within you to step out and do what needs to be done to make these things go forward. They believe in you and they show it by encouraging you. They encourage you, especially at the times when you feel like you simply don't know what to do. Now, even though we have several layers of support built into this particular health coach training program, you will still see that you need encouragement from different sources. And having an array of people around you to support you is key. You can never have too much support in your circle as an entrepreneur. You may hear that some entrepreneurs block out their circles to just a few people, and sometimes that's warranted. But in many cases, some of the best people who want to encourage and support us are the people we haven't even met yet. The lion behind you expects a lot. The person who supports you expects a lot from you. You'll notice that the expectations of the lioness are far and vast. They expect her to hunt. They expect her to nurse. They expect her to give birth. They expect her to keep up the pride. They expect her to raise the cubs. They expect her to do so many different things that keep the pride up and running. You may be expected to do these things as you build your coaching practice as well. And the person behind you supporting you will show evidence of that. If you're slacking in what you're learning, or if you're not turning in your assignments or finishing up the modules on time, the person who supports you is going to start asking questions that lead to steer your focus into the space of expectation that matches what is expected of you in the program. They tell the truth and they live and model what they say. They challenge you to do better than you did before. It doesn't matter if this is your second, third, fourth, or fifth or more time being an entrepreneur in the health and wellness space. You still have the ability to challenge yourself at every level with everything you're doing. And the people who support you share in those challenges with you. They ask you questions, and they ask questions that make sense with where you are in your endeavor. For instance, if you're building up your health coaching practice and you're looking to get more leads, and your goal was to, for instance, build up your email list, they're going to ask you, how many leads did you add to your email list this month? And you must have an answer. So they ask you things that are in alignment with their goals for your business and for your health coaching practice. They may also ask you questions about how you treat your clients. Don't take any of these things personally when it comes to someone who is supporting you fully. Acknowledge what you're doing. They always acknowledge the fact that you've gotten an A on your first exam or that you finally graduated and you've gotten certified. They're always asking you questions and acknowledging where you are on your journey. And they spend time celebrating all of your wins. One of my most favorite quotes in the world is not only that self-care is soul care, but self-care is how we take our power back. Self-care is supremely important when it comes to being a health coach. We have to walk our talk. We can't skimp on self-care. We don't have to be at the perfect weight, and we actually don't have to be in complete and perfect health to be able to help someone else go there. A lot of coaches fear that this is what they'll have to do. They have many fears around coaching other people, and some of those fears include if they actually succeed at this, that they'll have to be perfect every time. If they're not healthy enough, they don't have the right to tell other people what they should eat or how to exercise. If they work for themselves, they'll have to think about work all the time. If they make money as an amazing coach, they'll have to support everyone else. If they outgrow their old lifestyle, they'll have to release some of their closest friends. If they do what they want to do, everyone will start to think that they're selfish. They've never had to run their own practice. So what if their clients aren't happy with them? What if they have to put them in a program that they don't like? They might blame them for not getting results. If they get in front of others and talk about nutrition, people will laugh or think it's silly. And many of the people that they know don't make health a priority. So what if they don't believe in what they're doing in their practice? All of these things are normal fears for health coaches. And even if you've been in the health and wellness space for quite some time, these fears are still something that may come up for you. These are completely normal fears for students to face. And we have to make sure that we are in alignment with our self-care so that our confidence is out building our fears. Self-care is a mindset, activities, and practices and habits that are in the form of relief that we bring against stress and any negative emotions. It's important to understand that self-care should always bring some form of relief. Self-care doesn't have to involve a lot of money. It doesn't have to be a weekend getaway unless you absolutely feel like you need one. Self-care should be relief that doesn't stretch another part of your life. So if going on a weekend getaway is going to stretch you financially, you may want to think about doing something closer to home that allows you to feel like you've had a getaway. Now, there are hundreds of things that you can do to do self-care. I challenge you that in this program, you do one thing every day that allows you to do self-care. The bare minimum of self-care in the program is one thing per week. Real soul care happens every single day. And we have to keep in mind that soul care doesn't take a lot. It just needs us to be active at it. Self-care in front of you is a miniature self-care list. And the reason I say this is a miniature list is because there are lists of hundreds of activities you can do right from the comfort of your own home or in your own space, and even some while you're at work at your desk that you can do for your self-care. Remember that the first step to becoming a successful health coach is to be healthy. And a common vice that happens among all health coaches is that we tend to put so much energy into taking care of other people that we actually forget or don't have time to take care of ourselves. This list has made it simple for you. Even if you repeat some of the things on this list on a daily basis, give yourself some time every day to have some self-care. If this type of behavior persists, you'll eventually burn out if you don't take care of yourself, or you'll have nothing left to give anyone else. You'll wonder where you went wrong and how you could have developed any issues that happened. Your body is so brilliant. It sends you messages about who you are, how you're feeling overall, and even through ailments, to make you take better care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. But we don't want it to get that far. Start taking note of the signs your body sends you when you are out of balance and burning the candle at both ends, or simply not taking enough care of yourself. Here are some amazing ways to begin to establish a self-care routine. Now, accompanying this model is a self-care weekly schedule. I encourage you to use the weekly schedule to fill out your self-care until it is something that you have planned on a consistent basis and you do every day without thinking. We encourage you to fill out the self-care planner. Use it for yourself and for your clients. So some of the things that you can do for your self-care on a daily basis is a mini meditation, and anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes is enough. Mini decluttering session, meaning you take one small area of your home and declutter it. This may be something as simple as washing a few dishes, washing and drying a load of laundry, cleaning up a nightstand, something very, very basic. Take a different route to work or to the gym or to your next event. Dance for 3 to 5 minutes. That one's my favorite. Mirror work is also very, very powerful. In the Health Coach Haven, we have actually given you a mirror work worksheet for you to be able to do for 3 days at a time based on different time points in your life. Now, mirror work is powerful and effective at helping you begin to change how you think subconsciously concerning your fears and how you can develop even greater confidence through healing different things that have been a part of your past for a long time. Mirror work is extremely powerful. Some people like to do mirror work clothed early in the morning, and some people actually like to do mirror work nude as well in the mirror. I challenge you to try it both ways to see which way feels good to you. If you're dressed up or if you're at a place where you want to stay fully clothed and you're having issues with looking at yourself naked in the mirror, that may be a sign that more work needs to be done concerning body image and how you feel about yourself overall. The goal is to be completely comfortable with your body, no matter what it looks like, and be completely in love with who you are right now. Stretch and deep breathe. Dress up. Put on your fanciest clothes you have, dress up, and go to the grocery store or run your errands. I challenge you to do this one as well. You'll begin to see the type of attention that you get from people in public, and you'll be surprised at how many people come up to you or compliment the way you look. Get some sun for 15 to 20 minutes. This is an amazing way to actually rejuvenate yourself and re-energize yourself during the day. Now, if you're darker complected, you can get a little bit more than 20 minutes of sun. Go on a self-date. Take some time to just go someplace by yourself. Take a nap without an alarm. Take an art class. Choose a hobby. And color in a coloring book. Now, remember that art is anything that will exercise the intellectual part of your legacy will. So if you're feeling like you're not as creative or you're not in a space to be as creative as you could be, think about taking up a hobby of knitting or sewing, or think about taking up a hobby of painting or doing pottery. There's several different things that you can take up that will allow you to exercise your creativity on a consistent basis, as well as connect with people who are developing themselves creatively as well. Now we're going to say a word about stress and stress management. Stress has extreme negative effects on overall body's health and the way people feel. It causes all sorts of illnesses. Believe it or not, it affects sleep patterns, digestion, lowers the quality of life, and can lead to depression. Develop reliable and simple ways to reduce your stress. Experiment with meditation, hot towel scrubs, drinking more water and herbal teas, running outside in fresh air, or whatever else helps to quiet your mind so that you feel at peace. Eating well and doing regular physical activity are excellent ways to reduce stress and nurture yourself. Do whatever you need to make these things regularly occur in your life. Now, I want you to understand what stress is and how to actually beat it. Stress is defined as a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse, overwhelming, or very demanding circumstances. Now, this is the Webster's Dictionary definition of stress. The corporate definition of stress is when the duties or the expectations of a duty or a job exceed the ability of the assigned individual to do the job. When someone is completely overwhelmed, that is when they are considered to be stressed in the corporate space. Now, don't get me wrong, stress has its benefits. It works very, very well if we're running from a tiger. We want our heart rate to go up. We want our lungs to open for us to breathe faster. We want our eyes to dilate, our pupils to dilate so that we can see better. We want our respiratory rate to go up. We want our pulse to elevate, and we want our blood pressure to go up so that we can fight or take flight. So don't get us wrong. Stress in the body is a normal occurrence, and it is an absolutely necessary occurrence to keep the body thriving. However, what happens when the lion or the tiger is the person that you're living with? When you go home to the tiger every day, or when you go to work and the tiger is waiting for you there in the form of your boss or your coworkers. What happens when the tiger is the goal that you've had for years to do different things with your health and with your body? What happens when the tiger is the part of your life on a consistent basis? The fact is 110 million people die every year as a direct result of stress. That's 7 people every 2 seconds. Think about that for just a moment. And even though these statistics were recorded in 2013, this number has significantly risen since that time. All around us, we see people in the media and even celebrities who are giving in to the fight against stress. Suicide and depression are at an all-time high. And all of these things are directly, in many cases, related to stress. The number one place for stress to occur is at a workplace or while working a business. So it's important for us to stay here on this subject so that we understand how to win at the battle against stress. This was also cited not just in CDC and NIOSH, but this was also cited in Entrepreneur Magazine, as well as Inc. magazine. The reality of it is every single person we meet is fighting some form of battle. And our goal in everything that we do, not just with ourselves, but with the people we encounter, is to be gentle and understand that every single person we encounter has some kind of tiger happening in their life. They are fighting some kind of battle, or they are running from something to save themselves or just to thrive. Every single person has some kind of battle that they're fighting. So our goal in lifting as we rise is to always be gentle with people, especially when it comes to our clients. So how do we get back to mindfulness? How do we get back to a space of understanding how to beat stress and how to win at the battle against stress? The goal is to understand that stress is a physical thing. Increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, pupils dilating, increased respiratory rate. Stress is a physical thing. And so the battle against stress is fought and won with physical or physiological changes to the actual body. So when you feel stressed, the goal is to do something that moves, shifts, or changes your physical body in some kind of way. Here are a few ways that we can keep it simple in order to get back to Zen. Now, in your notes, you have the ability to write out the top stressors and what you're going to do if those things arise as you build your health coaching practice. Some of the top favorites are taking a nice bath. And this doesn't have to be a bath with bubbles and all the things laid out. It just has to be a way to change your mood and change the way you're feeling physically almost immediately. Take a walk or a jog. Water and admire and even talk to your plants. Aromatherapy, yoga, tai chi, or qigong. Meditation with sound. Remember that sound holds vibration, so it has the ability to change and reshape the brain itself, the neurological pathways within the brain. Did you know that people who suffer from traumatic experiences and people who suffer from stress and depression have neurological pathways that have been reshaped in their brain? We have to understand that every room that we walk into has trauma and stress in the room, or someone suffering from it. And so in being gentle and when we work with our clients, we have to understand that how to incorporate these things automatically in their lives when they come to us. Listen to music and dance. Watch cartoons and mimic the characters. Remember, just watching the cartoons isn't enough. We have to physically do something like moving our mouths or mimicking the characters, or one of my favorite, which is laughter. We can go for a nice swim. We can breathe deeply and even rearrange the furniture. These are just a few things that will allow you to get back to Zen when you feel like you're being stressed. Take a look at this list and determine which things you would love to continue to do if you're already doing them, or add to your arsenal so that when the battle of stress comes to you, you know how to get into the battle and actually win the war. Remember, running from stress is never, ever the solution. Hiding out at home for a week or taking sick days is never, ever, ever the real solution. In order to fight back, we have to understand that even if we run, the Zen, the peace that we find at the top of the mountain when we get there is the only Zen or peace that we bring with us. Now let's take a moment to talk a little bit about Haven Huddles. We're excited to introduce these into the program because they are another layer of support for the students. These Haven Huddles are here because they are small group-based health coaching calls that provide you with guidance and support throughout the program. The Legacy Haven Huddles are led by me, the director, Angela Cudger, of the program, but with practice and consistent attendance, the students can also lead these calls. And we encourage you to do that because you'll be able to hone in on your facilitation skills and being able to lead your own group coaching calls. The goal of this program is to provide you with demonstrated coaching techniques with robust curriculum and business guidance and support for you with the legacy wheel concerning your own life. And so the Haven Huddles are just another means of amazing support for us to be the lion behind you. Haven Huddles provide the opportunity to connect with other classmates outside of the classroom and for you to get real conversation and have some real guidance. During these huddles, you can discuss topics from class calls, you can find classmates to practice your health histories with, and even use the support circle mastermind to hone in on what your next solution is for your most pressing challenge at that moment. Students who participate in support group efforts are more likely to have greater success, be more consistent, and even harness the ability to lead the coaching practice. During the calls where support circle master mind maps will be used, please fill them out before you get to the call so that the time can be used as effectively as possible. Now, because you're in the classes, Monday through Friday is already designated to being able to actually hone in and do the work that is required for each module. Haven huddles are extra support and therefore are held on the weekends during time off. These are held on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. These calls will end promptly at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are 30-minute concise calls. Each student is getting 10 minutes per call. We're limiting this call to 3 students for each meeting so that each student can actually get some support for exactly what they're having a challenge with. Every call must have a timekeeper. The support ratio is 30 to 70. 30% or 3 minutes of the student's time is designated to them being able to say what it is they need support on, what's going well for them, and what they need support on. It is basically them reading the support mind map. And that's why it's so important for you to have that filled out before you book or come to the call. The 70% is where the magic happens. Over the 7 minutes following the 3 minutes, the student will be able to get feedback from every person in the huddle on exactly what their issue is. Now, during this time frame, it's important that the student not interrupt any of the feedback that they're giving, but to take great notes on all of the feedback that they're given, because once their time is up, we have to move promptly to the next student who is on the call. These are powerful calls that can boost your business and your ability to create a lasting health coaching practice in significantly less time. The goal is for each student to have exactly what they need to start taking clients within 6 months. Every student has to give feedback on the call. If a student has a challenge that you don't know how to give feedback to, or if you don't have anything to say, it may be beneficial to just simply nod in agreement or speak in agreement to what the other students and the director has given on the call. So it's okay if you don't have any advice to give, but the goal is to be listening intently, be a great listener, and have some type of feedback to give to the student who has the challenge. The student who's getting the advice or receiving the advice must be careful not to say that they've done any of these things that they're getting advice on before, but the goal is to be grateful, say thank you, and then allow the next person to give feedback. Our goal with these is to make sure that you know that we are standing behind you 150% as you build your coaching practice, and that any challenge that arises or anything that comes up is something that you can pose to the huddle and immediately get an answer to help you move from your stuck space to the next space. Our goal is also to help you reduce the number of coaches you need while you're in this program. Now, we encourage you to have other coaches for different parts of your business and in your life, but while you're in this program, we actually encourage you to use the Haven Huddles to your advantage to get as much support as you possibly can. The reasons for the huddle are simple: to help build community, get peer and teacher support, and to be able to learn how to steer focus while facilitating a call. The requirements for these huddles is to be on time every time, and to only use your 10 minutes of the call, to fill out the mind map and be prepared to be laser focused, and to be willing to give feedback to every student who needs support. The homework assignment for this particular module is simple. We want you to identify your top support and identify the people who are not your biggest fans. And the goal is to make sure you write why these people are your greatest support and why the others are not your greatest support. We also encourage you, as a part of your homework assignment, to make your first self-care plan if you haven't already. We also encourage you to fill out the sheet, whether you have a self-care plan laid out, fill out the form anyway, because it gives you practice in what you're going to be looking for your future clients to be able to do successfully. The Haven Huddle links for Saturday and Sunday calls have already been posted in the Facebook Haven Huddle group. Please do not share these links outside of the group. They are only for active students.